Hey guys, what's up? In this guide, we'll go over the best binds for you to use no matter what your DG level is. Having the correct binds will allow you to kill monsters much faster in Dungeoneering, leading to faster floor times and higher XP per hour. I'll show you what the best binds are and explain why they're useful, but before we get into that, let's take a look at a couple quick setups everyone should do before they begin Dungeoneering. The first thing you want to do is get a Ring of Kinship. From Lumbridge, you're just going to run south to this dock and then right click the sailor there. He'll take you to the Dungeoneering area. Once you're at the Dungeoneering area, just run west and then you'll run north. So here I am running west and north. And then there's this guy called the Dungeoneering Tutor, and you talk to him. He'll hand you this ring. So you'll see I have this ring in my inventory. I can right click it to teleport. When it teleports you to this area for future use so you can come back quickly. And then there's another thing, if you just click it, left click it, you can form a party. You'll see next to my name there's this green XP share button. You should toggle it so it's red because that's what regular groups use and they won't take you if you have it on green. Enter the dungeon and you'll talk to the smuggler at base and select option 5. Can I change my starting items? You'll see you usually start with coins. I have them in my inventory, but what you want is feathers, rune essence, and anti-poison, so I select option 2 with him. Then if I leave the dungeon and enter again, you'll see in my inventory I have feathers, anti-poison, and rune essence. Rune essence is helpful because you can make cosmic or law runes at the start to help with teleports. Then the feathers are helpful just for some puzzles throughout the floor, and then the anti-poison can reduce some damage. Now, right-click your Ring of Kinship and select Customize. It can be upgraded to increase your accuracy and damage. The first useful role is Sniper. It increases ranged accuracy. Right below it is Desperado. It increases ranged damage. If you swap to the Magic tab, you'll see Blitzer. This helps with magic accuracy. These 3 roles are the most useful when DGing. To activate them, right-click the box under Upgrade and select Switch to make it your primary ability, or a quick switch to make it a role you can swap to. The option Set Secondary allows you to use 2 roles at once, but it requires completion of Dungeoneering tasks, as you can see in the chat box. Now that I've set my ranged accuracy as my primary ability and magic accuracy as my quick switch, I can right-click my ring and swap it between the 2. This is helpful for bosses that are weak to magic. I'll go into more detail about what to upgrade and when later in the guide. From levels 1 to 49, you'll want the following binds. First, your best staff and water spell. The reason you should start with a staff is because of the second bind, Cosmic Runes. Cosmic Runes allow you to create personal gatestones, as covered in my Rush guide. However, because you have runes bound, you are unable to bind arrows and use a bow. Melee is also not used as a primary combat style because it requires you to be next to each monster you fight, and it's weak against mages who stun you. Once you hit level 20, you should add in a third bind, a main hand and offhand battle axe. At lower levels, melee is helpful for killing rangers as magic has a low hit chance against them. This will help you clear monsters faster and will help introduce you to weapon switching, an important skill outside of Dungeoneering too. The best way to weapon switch is by dragging the weapons onto your action bar and using the corresponding keybinds to swap between styles quickly. First, set up action bar switches in your combat settings. Settings, Gameplay, Combat, Action bar binding to get there. Now I've set action bar 3 as my magic bar and 1 as my melee bar. This makes it so my bars will switch to the correct style when I put on a sword or staff. For keybinds, I suggest using something basic that is easy to access. For example, on my magic bar, I have F for my main hand sword. When I click F, it swaps to my melee bar, and the F keybind becomes my offhand sword. So by pressing FF quickly, I can put on both weapons with the same keybind. On the melee bar, I have my staff bound to E, so I can quickly switch back to magic attacks when needed. Finally, you'll want to set your Ring of Kinship to Blitzer. Assuming you're starting from scratch, you can get Tier 1 at level 11, Tier 2 at level 18, Tier 3 at level 24, and Tier 4 at level 30. You'll save the rest of the tokens for upgrading your ring at level 50. Before you get the level 50 binds, you need to complete the medium Dungeoneering tasks. The medium task set supplies you with 40 cosmic and law runes at the start of each floor for teleports, so you can destroy your cosmic runes and bind arrows instead. In addition to your arrows, you should bind your best short bow. It's important to use a short bow as it does full damage while longbows do much less. Your secondary weapon bind should be a staff. The bow is used to kill mages and rangers, and the staff will help finish off melee monsters. The final bind is your best ranged body. At this point, you'll start to do large dungeons, and the protection the body provides will help you stay alive. For your ring, set Sniper as your primary role and Desperado as your secondary role. You should have them both upgraded to Tier 8 by level 69. By level 90, you will need to upgrade Sniper to Tier 10 for the hard task set. Use Blitzer as your quick switch. The final bind required in this level range is a potion. Because you've completed the medium Dungeoneering tasks, you're able to bind one potion. If all of your stats are maxed and you have 120 Herblore and Farming, Strong Weapon Poison is the best potion to bind as it adds a straight DPS buff to every floor. If your stats are not that high, you should pick one of the strong skilling potions instead. Gatherers and Artisans are typically the most useful, but if you have a low herb or farming level, then Naturalist may be the best potion for you. Starting at level 90, you'll want to add in a dual wield melee bind. It's not for DPS though, it's for movement in rooms. It allows you to barge, bladed dive between doors so you can get through the dungeon faster. Also, if you use a Flame Burst Defender as the offhand, it works as a shield, so you can use abilities such as Resonance to heal or stall Adrenaline. It's great in bosses like Blink. The next three binds will be the same as before. The bow, staff, and ranged body will function for DPS and protection during the dungeon. The final bind that you'll want to add is a blood necklace. This is a rare drop from Edemus, so you'll want to watch out for it on the way to 120. It's useful because it damages opponents and heals you for that damage. It also gives a stat boost. That covers all of the standard binds that people use in floors, but there's a couple other items I think we should go through. The first is the Hex Hunter bow. It's a shield bow, and it's not that good anymore. It used to be a great bind, but in today's age, it's not worth using. So use the Sagittarian short bow instead. The second item I see people mistakenly wearing often is the Shadow Silk hood. It offers very little actual protection, and it's disabled by mages, so it's only worth using over a ranged body if you're very low defense. I've listed the bosses that drop the various items here for your convenience. You can also craft the items if they're below level 99, so all the level 90 gear you can craft yourself or have a friend craft for you. The likelihood of getting the highest tier 99 gear from a boss depends on the total combat level of your party. So if you create a group of 5 people who are all level 138 and go in and fight a boss, you have a high chance of getting the level 99 gear. Another alternative is to do the floor in hard mode, which also has an increased chance of getting the boss drop. For the Slayer items, you need to just search for them in floors, keep an eye out, and bind them if you come across one. You can grind for the Slayer items in specific floors, but I don't think it's really worth the time opposed to just getting them through regular gameplay, but I've listed those out too if you'd like to try that option. That brings us to the end of my bind guide. If you have any questions, as usual, please leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer. I hope your dungeoneering goes well. Thanks for watching.